Exercise A. Listen for main ideas. Look at the subjects on the chart. Listen to 3 calls from a radio show. Check the subjects that are discussed during each call. Call 1. Arturo and Jetrine.
Good morning, world. This is Millicent McKay in Brussels with today's Worldwide Cultural Literacy Update. If you're new to the program, here's the format. In the studio, 3 people take your phone calls and answer your questions about etiquette in their countries. Today's guests are Jetrine from Thailand, Nadia from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and Sujit from Nepal. We're all first name here, so let me welcome Jetrine, Nadia, and Sujit.
Sawadee Ka, Millicent. Good morning. I'm Jetrine from Thailand.
Hello, it's nice to be with you. I'm Nadia from Dubai.
And good morning, Millicent, Jetrine, and Nadia. Sujit here from Nepal.
Okay, let's get started. I see our first caller is on the line. Hello, Arturo from Montevideo. You're on the air.
Good morning. Actually, good evening. It's 10:30 at night here in Montevideo. But here's my question. I'm traveling on business to Thailand next month, and I'll be working with Thai business managers from my company. What should I know?
Hello, Arturo. Jetrine here. Just a couple of things. First, a taboo. Don't touch anyone's head, not even a child's.
Well, I don't ordinarily touch people's heads, but if you don't mind my asking, what's wrong with touching someone's head?
Well, we believe the head is where the person's soul lives. So it's very disrespectful and offensive to touch a person's head.
Any other tips?
Well, when you are seated, be sure not to cross your legs in such a way that others can see the bottom of your foot.
Actually, I knew that. But don't worry, it's good to be reminded. I do have one more specific question before I hang up.
Sure. What's that?
In Uruguay, it's customary to shake hands, and I know Thai people greet each other with a Y. Will it seem impolite for a foreigner to do the Y? And what happens if I don't do it right? Would that be offensive?
Absolutely not. Just put the palms of your hands together on your chest and bow slightly. Say Sawadee Ka. For the women listening, you say Sawadee Ka. You will warm our hearts with that. Don't worry if you don't do it exactly the way Thais do it. And don't worry about the pronunciation. Have a wonderful trip to Thailand. Try to do some sightseeing and taste our wonderful food.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jetrine and Arturo, for a good lesson in cultural literacy. Let's take a break and then another call.
Call 2. Hiroko and Nadia.
Welcome back, listeners. This is Millicent McKay with a worldwide town meeting answering all your questions about do's and taboos around the world. Let's say hello to Hiroko from Osaka, Japan. Hiroko, you're on the air.
Thank you, Millicent. My husband and I are going to Dubai. He's a banker and has business there, but I'm going with him as a tourist. I'm very interested in all kinds of culture, and I understand Dubai is very different from Japan. I have 3 questions.
Hello, Hiroko. Nadia on the line.
Thanks, Nadia. If I'm alone, can I walk on the street or drive a car? When we went to Saudi Arabia, women were not permitted to go out alone or drive.
Absolutely. As a woman traveler, you will have no difficulty getting around, even if you are alone. You can drive, and as long as you dress modestly, you can wear whatever you like.
Second question. I don't speak any Arabic.
Again, no problem. As you know, Arabic is the official language of Dubai, but English is commonly used in tourism and commerce.
You speak very good English, Nadia. Where did you learn it?
I actually am an English teacher. I learned my English in the United States at the University of Wisconsin.
And my last question. I'm an amateur photographer. Will I be able to take pictures in Dubai?
Well, yes, but you should know that it is considered offensive to take pictures of Muslim women here.
Oh, I'm glad I asked. What about pictures of men?
Well, yes, just be sure to ask permission.
I don't know how to thank you. I'm really looking forward to the trip.
We'll be right back with our final call.
Call 3, Javier and Sujit.
I think we have time for one more caller. Javier from Mexico City, welcome to the show. How can we help you?
I'm going to Nepal next month on an international trek. I will be staying with a Nepalese family for a weekend, and I want to be sure I don't offend anyone. Mexico is very different from Nepal.
Well, let's ask Sujit to comment.
Hi, Javier. Let's talk about table manners. First of all, Nepalese don't usually use spoons, forks, or knives.
No? So how do the people eat? How will I eat?
Well, your host will eat with their right hand, never the left hand. But I'm sure they'll provide you with spoons and forks. If they're welcoming foreigners into their home, they'll want you to be comfortable. But remember one important taboo. Beef is strictly forbidden as a food in both Hindu and Buddhist homes. Our typical food, however, is wonderful and very flavorful and healthy.
That's great, because I'm Mexican, and we have great food in Mexico too. I love good food when I travel. Sujit, I'm very interested in culture, but I don't know much about Hinduism and Buddhism. What can you tell me?
Well, if you visit a Hindu temple or a Buddhist shrine, you must remove your shoes, or if you prefer, you can wear open sandals. Check first. In some Hindu temples, non-Hindus can't enter. And very important, don't take leather things near the temple. And if you want to take a picture, be sure to ask before using your camera.
Thanks so much. I feel very prepared now.
My pleasure.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Until next time, this is Millicent McKay in Brussels, reminding you that in today's world, cultural literacy is an essential survival skill.
Okay, let's go to this part, right? With a partner, look at the questions about your culture on the notepad, discuss each question and write the answer. So, there are some questions here, you should read them and answer. How do people greet each other when they meet for the first time? How do they greet each other when they already know each other? Are greeting customs different from men and women? You should read the questions completely and take notes. Write complete answers. Take a photo and send it to me. Let's go to this reading. There is a beautiful reading here. Let's listen. After listening, you are going to read it, record your voice, and send it to me. And actually, we are going to answer the question, so be careful about it. Number 14. Wait a minute, I should find it.
Read and listen.
Today, Global Culture is interviewing Eugenia Hartley of Jackson, Mississippi, in the U.S. about changes to culture. Ms. Hartley, culture has changed a bit since you were growing up in the 40s, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. And maybe more so for me than for others, because Jackson is in the South, which was pretty socially conservative when I was a young girl.
Please tell us about some of the changes you have personally experienced.
My heavens. Well, the new South is so different from the old South in a lot of good ways, as everyone knows. But since you ask me personally, it would probably be technology, the way young people talk to their elders, table manners.
Okay, how have those things changed?
Well, for example, when I was growing up, the family dinner hour was the one time in the day when the family sat down together, and it was a special time. Today, that's changed. In many families, there is no dinner hour. Kids eat snacks or fast food all day, moms are out in the workforce and don't have time to make a proper meal, and there are so many activities that it seems like no one has time. In my day, children were more respectful and quiet at the table. We spoke when we were spoken to. We didn't put our elbows on the table, and we dressed nicely. No one came to the dinner table in shorts or jeans the way they do today.
That is different, isn't it? You mentioned technology. How has that changed?
How hasn't it changed? Well, today, I see boys and girls staring at screens for hours. I didn't see a television until I was 16. Very few people had one. And when I finally saw one, watching it was always a family occasion. I wasn't allowed to watch it on my own. The whole family gathered to watch sports or news. Oh, and the internet didn't exist. If I wanted to get some information, I went to the library and found a book, or I asked someone. I guess it's easier to study now. But back then, we had to be a bit more social and go outside and talk to people. But we couldn't be out too late. I had a curfew, and if I wasn't home by 11, I was grounded for at least a month.
And you mentioned the way young people address their elders. How has that changed?
Well, today you hear teens, even children, calling adults by their first names. We had to address adults as sir or ma'am. And we always used Mr. and Mrs. I suppose that sounds a little old-fashioned today, doesn't it?
Maybe so. Thanks so much, Ms. Hartley, for an interesting interview.
Okay, look at here. How old do you estimate Miss Hartley to be today? How old is she? Can you estimate after reading these texts? How old is she? For example, when she was 16, this was the first time that she watched TV. So how old is she? Can you imagine? Does Miss Hartley prefer the culture or past or the present? Based on this text, do you think she likes the culture in the past time or the present culture? What do you think? Write the answer here. What is Miss Hartley's opinions of the change in the role of mothers? You see, in this part, she was talking about it, and actually, some of the manners that she didn't say it's good or bad, but she was talking about them, and how do they call the parents? What do you think? What is opinion of changing the role of mothers? And does Miss Hartley approve of differences in child or teen's behavior that has taken? What do you think? You see, there was an explanation of the way that they wore clothes and they call their parents. What do you think? Do you think she agrees or disagrees? That she liked it or no, she didn't like it? Explain it, write completely, take a photo and send it to me. Find the underline each of the following words in the reading. Use the word to understand the word. Use your understanding of the words in the right definition. To write definitions. For example, elders. Elders means old people. Workforce. What's the meaning of workforce? The force that while you are working, the pressure that you have in the place, based on the etiquette that you should use in that place, how you should use the duties, how you should pay attention to the work. And technology, you know it. Curfew. You see, we have it here. There was a curfew. It means that, for example, you should be at home at a special time at night. For example, at 9 o'clock, you should be home. And what is this? Grounded. If I wasn't home by 11, I would be grounded. It means I would be punished. I should prevent from going out, for example, for 1 month. Let's go to this part. Think about how culture has changed since your parents, grandparents, and your age. When they were your age. If necessary, ask your parents and grandparents. Look at here, for example, table manners. Do you think they have changed a little, a lot? Is the change for better? Yes or no? Musical taste, what do you think? Are they changed a lot or no? And if they have changed, do you think it's positive or negative? What about technology, clothing, customs, rules about formal behavior? Rules about punctuality. Punctuality means be on time. Forms of address, male or female roles in the workplace, and male or female roles in the home. What do you think? You see, if you collect and you have calculate all the numbers with yes, the total number you can find out uh, about how, for example, you are a dinosaur or you are a chimilan. How many times did you check yes in the third column? For example, yes. If you have up to 3, you are definitely a dinosaur. It means you prefer to stick to the rules. And no, if a little, if you, for example, 4 to 6, it means a little. You are easy does it. So you like to change a little. And 7 to 5, it means you are completely a chameleon. It means you have changed completely and you use the new tradition. So complete this part, take a photo and send it to me, please. Let's go to the listening. Listen to the conversation between people introducing themselves. Check their statement that correctly paraphrase the main idea. Let's listen. You should select which one, number one, for example. A is right or B. Let's listen, number 15.
Page 12. Exercise A. Listen to the conversations between people introducing themselves. Check the statement that correctly paraphrases the main idea. Conversation 1.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Ana Montoya.
Good morning, Dr. Montoya.
Please call me Ana.
Conversation 2.
So, she would like to be addressed by her title or family name, or she would like to be addressed by her first name. So you can tick this one.
Hi, I'm Larry Lockhart.
Hi, I'm Winnie Denman. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. By the way, how would you prefer to be addressed?
Mrs. Denman would be fine.
So Mrs. Diamond would be fine. She would prefer to call by her title and last name. So you can tick this one.
Conversation 3.
Excuse me, I'm Sofia Perez. I'm looking for Martin Page.
Certainly, Miss Pettish. I'm Ramona Wright. Martin's right over there. Come, I'll introduce you.
Thanks. And would it be rude if I called him Martin?
No, that's fine. And while you're at it, feel free to call me Ramona.
And please call me Sofia.
So it's customary to call people by their first name. So it is customary.
Conversation 4.
Hi, I'm Robert Morse, the new English instructor.
Oh, hello, Dr. Morse. I'm Laura Lane, the department secretary. I'll take you to your class. By the way, how would you like to be introduced to the class?
Well, what's the custom here?
We're pretty informal. The policy is generally first name. We think it makes for a more conversational English class. Do you mind?
Not at all. Robert's fine with me.
Okay, he is comfortable with policy about names. You can tick this one.
Conversation 5.
Hello, I'm Mayumi Sato. I'm pre-registered for the conference.
Certainly. Let me make up your name badge. Do you prefer Ms. or Mrs.?
Actually, neither. I use doctor.
Of course, Dr. Sato. Here you go.
Thanks.
So she preferred to use the title, which is doctor. Complete each sentence with tag question. You are not from around here, are you? You see, when it is negative, we should use positive here. Are you? You were in the class last year, weren't you? Weren't you? They have been here since yesterday. Have they? You see, this is negative, we should change it into positive. Affirmative form. Have they? Before the class, they hadn't yet told them how she wanted to be dressed. Had she? Hadn't she? See, had she. Because we have hadn't she, this is negative, we should use positive form here, had she. Okay, you complete this part, take a photo and send it to me. Complete each statement with a word from vocabulary on page 8. You should return to page 8. Offending other people when eating a meal is an example of bad table etiquette. Okay, each country has customs and traditions about how to behave in social situations. The rules are sometimes called. Each culture has its own sense of. It's important to understand people's ideas about lateness. You should complete this part based on page 8 and take a photo, send it to me. Writing. Write email messages of formal and one formal. You should write 2 email messages, one formal and one informal, telling someone about a cultural tradition in your culture. For the formal email, imagine you are inviting to a business person who is coming to your country on a business trip. And for the informal email, you should imagine you are visiting a friend who is visiting your country as a tourist. So you should explain what are the traditions in your country. So write one email which is formal and the other one which is not formal. It is informal. So you should write 2 paragraphs two emails, take a photo and send it. Let's go to this part. Look at these pictures. First, look at the pictures and tell a story of Grassos and the Ayats on June 10. Then look at the interiors below and use the past perfect to talk about what they had done by June 6th. For example, by June 6th, they have been in which of these locations? For example, Lima, Puno, Costco, or Macho. You see, there was a hotel, there were different situations and on different times. You can select them and write about them. Create a conversation for two men in the first picture. Each man tells the other he would like to be addressed. For example, I like to be addressed with my first name, my title, how. For number two, create a conversation for two women making a small talk. You can use the information in these two parts and create a conversation for people in the third picture and ask and answer questions about their trip to Peru. Use past perfect. You can use the information in these two parts in order to complete the conversation and give information about these sightseeing. That's enough. Let's call it a day. Have a nice time and goodbye.